We opened yesterday with Mumbai sinking. Today, unfortunately, no different. Mumbai continues to reel under torrential rain. Over 400 flights were delayed. Road and rail services were hit. Even the Mumbai High Court, the Bombay High Court, closed early today. The next 48 hours are said to be absolutely crucial, according to Chief Minister Devinder Parnavis, as air, road, rail, all the services have been badly hit. The question is, why has Mumbai been witnessing such intense rain over the last 3 days? Well, we looked into some research and this is what we found. Just in the past 3 days, Mumbai has received rainfall that it should have for the entire month. Now, unlike standard monsoon showers, which are often intermittent, the continuous rainfall is due to cloud stationary nature. In seasonal terms, now August is Mumbai's second wettest month, with rainfall averaging around 560 to 620 mm. Frequent thunder showers are active. This is the wettest phase. However, this spell generally happens intermittently, which has not been the case. Extensive rainfall started on the 15th of August and it hasn't stopped. In fact, there is said to be no respite at least till the 20th. So far, in more than 80 hours, the city has accumulated 550 mm of rain, which is equivalent to nearly a full month's rainfall. Look what that rainfall actually brought the city down to.
The unending flood woes of Sing City, Mumbai. Second day of mega deluge in Maximum City. India's financial capital brought to its knees yet again. The highest tax-paying city struggling. Unable to distinguish between sewage and rainwater as key roads and highways are submerged. And it's not just the roads. The Mithi River is swelling dangerously.
This Mithi River that 20 years ago had swelled up and created havoc is also on a high. It's flowing above the normal level that it generally does. And in fact, right now it's of course below the red sign. But then, the heavy rain and the heavy wind that one can see right here, that's something that has created quite a bit of an issue.
The situation is similar in other posh suburbs of Maharashtra.
इस वक्त हम मौजूद हैं मुंबई के अंधेरी सबवे के पास, जहां पर आप देख सकते हैं तेज बारिश के बाद जो है अंधेरी सबवे में पूरा पानी भर गया है। एहतियात के तौर पर जो अंधेरी सबवे को बंद कर दिया गया है। यहाँ पर बीएमसी के अधिकारी मौजूद हैं, पुलिस के अधिकारी मौजूद हैं, जो लगातार लोगों को हिदायत दे रहे हैं कि आप इस तरफ से, यानी कि आप ईस्ट से जो आप वेस्ट की तरफ न जाएं, क्योंकि बीच में ज्यादा पानी है और इससे कहीं खतरा हो सकता है।
Mumbai's lifeline, the local trains, have taken a massive hit, with tracks getting waterlogged. The Mumbai-Ahmedabad highway is also inundated.
We are right now at Mumbai's Thane highway, where you can see the road has emerged in a river right now, and you can see the vehicles have been half drowned in this water. Right, as of now, IMD has issued an red alert for the Mumbai, and local bodies have also urged people to not to step out of the home unless or until it is necessary for them.
The iconic Queen's Necklace, Marine Drive, is now a site of crashing tides and pounding rain. In Thane, a car went underwater and the occupants were rescued to safety. The rain chaos comes after 300 millimeters of rain was recorded in just 24 hours.
कुछ जगह पर जान और माल का नुकसान हुआ है, वहां पर हमने सारी एहतियात बरती हुई है। वहां पर एसडीआरएफ और एनडीआरएफ के लोग भी हमने तैनात किए हैं। आगे भी जहां पर रेड अलर्ट बताया गया है, वहां पर हम लोग कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। मुंबई में भी 300 mm बारिश करीब हुई है, जिसके कारण कुछ डिस्ट्रप्शंस निर्माण हुए, लेकिन अभी पानी नीचे जा रहा है। मिठी नदी की लेवल भी नीचे जा रही है।
Inundated streets, submerged cars and blocked highways. The waterlogging is so severe that even Google Maps is helpless. The IMD isn't offering much hope either. It warns of more torrential rain across Maharashtra in the coming days. With Vidya, Mustafa and Deepesh reporting from Mumbai. Bureau Report, India Today.
Sad and worrying picture there emerging from Mumbai as we've been reporting this entire spell of torrential rainfall. So that was what all happened today. But let's take a live update on what's expected in the days to come, because remember, this is not relenting anytime soon. What I have in front of me is the map of India. Let's sort of zoom into Mumbai a little bit to sort of tell you what's happening at the moment. You see the wind flowing. You also see a concentration of rain happening here. Now, this map gives you a prediction of how much of rainfall is expected over the next 16 days or so. And what you see here on your screen is that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the entire weekend, we have continuous rain that's just refusing to go away. In fact, there is a bit of a respite that comes in on Friday, so no Friday arrangements for anybody in Mumbai. Saturday, Sunday, you're going to thank yourself that you are actually home and not on the road, because clearly the situation is not getting any better. Perhaps the reason why the Chief Minister has also gone ahead to say that the next 48 hours are pretty critical, but this is too much for the city perhaps to take in. As we said, a full 1 month of rainfall came down in just about 3 days' time. So all authorities really don't know what to do at this point. But should they have known? If these maps are available to us, shouldn't they have calculated and made arrangements otherwise? Let's find that out with our reporters. Joining us now is Ritvik Bhalekar live from Dadar. We also have Devesh Singh joining us from Thane, and Mustafa joining us from Andheri. Let me go to Ritvik first. Ritvik, like I said, this rainfall coming down heavy, a full month of rainfall coming down in just 3 days was known, wasn't it? How did the authorities actually prepare for it?
Yeah, absolutely. The red alert was issued by IMD and BMC, but at the same time, these unexpected amount of rainfall was seen in Mumbai and the adjoining parts of the city. Right now, we are at a Dadar station, and we need to show you the plight of the people, how they are suffering and how they are struggling to go back home. Right now, be it rail services, be it flights, be it road transport, everything is badly hit, and people are out on streets. Those who have come for the offices, those who have come from outside the city using long distance trains have got stuck here because there's no transport at all, because from CSMT to Thane, the train service has been suspended, local trains has been suspended, also harbour lines have been suspended, and now people are out on streets because the railway tracks have been submerged in the water. Here we can see how people are waiting and queuing up to get, cabs or any mode of public transport. We'll talk to them and we'll find out where they want to go, where have they come from. कहाँ से आए आप कहाँ से आए? बोरीवली से आए. हाँ, कहाँ से? बोरीवली से. और कहाँ जाना आपको?
कल्याण.
कितने समय से है?
3 घंटा हो गया यहीं पे ही खड़े रहे.
3 घंटा.
हाँ.
ट्रेन कब से बंद है?
ट्रेन 12 बजे से बंद है.
अच्छा. 11 बजे. तो अभी कुछ ऑप्शन है?
बंद है. कोई ऑप्शन नहीं मिल रहा है. टैक्सी वाले लोग 4-4 हजार रुपया मांग रहे कल्याण जाने का.
4,000 रुपए.
मैं हिंगोली से हूँ, महाराष्ट्र में, और मुझे आके यहाँ पे 10:30 बजे मैं स्टेशन पे आया हूँ. अभी तक कोई भी ट्रांसपोर्ट के लिए मुझे सुविधा नहीं मिली यहाँ से जाने के लिए. ट्रेन भी 11 बजे से तो बंद है, कोई ट्रेन नहीं है. जनशताब्दी एक्सप्रेस का टिकट है मेरा. जनशताब्दी एक्सप्रेस भी अभी 6 घंटे लेट बता रही है. अभी और न जाने का कितनी लेट होगी पता नहीं.
आप अकेले हैं, साथ में कोई है?
मैं अकेला हूँ. यहाँ पे कोई पहचान वाला भी नहीं है, कुछ नहीं. मैं यहाँ पर अकेला हूँ.
यहाँ पे कोई पुलिस प्रशासन कोई मदद के लिए है सरकार की तरफ से? 4,000 आपने कहा कैब वाले बोल रहे हैं?
वाले बोल रहे हैं 4,000। पुलिस देखा तो नहीं,
बोलना चाहता हूँ
अंदर तो है पता, उनसे बात नहीं किया हमने।
हाँ। तो अभी कुछ आसार नजर आ रहे, कैसे जाएंगे घर?
कुछ कैब वाले भी बहुत बोल रहे हैं, टैक्सी का भाड़ा भी बहुत बता रहे हैं, 4,000 3,000 ऐसा बोल रहे हैं। बहुत टाइम से हो गए, 11:30 बजे से खड़े हुए हम लोग यहाँ पे।
पुलिस तो सामने है, आपने कंप्लेन नहीं की या पुलिस कोई हेल्प नहीं कर रही है?
नहीं, वहाँ पे कंप्लेन करने नहीं गए, बहुत सारे लोग हैं, नहीं गए, कोई भी नहीं गए अभी हम में से।
We'll try and speak to some cab drivers if possible, because exorbitantly they are charged is what the passengers are telling us. 4,000 to reach Kalyan, to reach Thane is shocking, and we'll try and talk to them. कितना पैसा ले रहे हैं अभी कल्याण थाने जाने के लिए? मीटर लेंगे। ये लोग तो बोल रहे 4-4 हजार रुपए।
All right, so that's what's been happening where Ritwik is at the moment, and we've got reporters other places as well to try and get a sense of how exactly the common man, you know, really is the one who pays a price through time, through money. Cars are inundated. Cars insurance, will they really cover for all of this? There are so many questions that come to mind, but we'll come back to all our reporters in just a bit. Let's also speak to some prominent Mumbaikars to understand how are they feeling about this repeated trend year after year, the same problem. Joining us now is Vishal Malhotra. He's an actor. He's a YouTube content creator as well now. Vishal, year on year, the same story. And while people, there was a time when we would say, well, Sobo is not impacted by these rainfalls. Sobo doesn't get inundated. There are areas that are not impacted. But this time around, all those things have changed. This rain and the flooding has been a leveler of sorts across Mumbai, town or otherwise.
Multiple stories. Yeah, it's unfortunate that I joined you on a day which nature has really imploded once again on our beautiful city. It is causing tremendous discomfort to so many of the citizens of Mumbai, and it's not something new. You know, that the robust citizens of our country, of our city is used to. Unfortunately, I feel that a flaw can always be improved upon, and especially when you know that this is something that our city is prone towards. Better arrangements definitely need to be always being made. And we also have to understand that this, as you said, Sonal, earlier, that within 3 days, an entire month of rain has been, has hit our lash Mumbai. So it's just an unfortunate mixture of things. And I absolutely agree that we must always expect more and deserve more. And it's very unfortunately. Right now, I've been stuck for the last 5 hours and concerned because I have to go and pick up a relative of mine, right? So of course it affects everybody at every status of the city. We can always do much better. We can always aim for better preparation. And that is one hope that as a Mumbaiker we always live by. On the same point, I know that this might come across as a slightly unpopular point of view. But as we discussed earlier also, that we must also give the due respect to the workers on the street who are trying really hard to pump out the water. Despite the situation, the local train riders, the BMC workers who are on the street, not only them, not only the government employees, but also the people who come and do delivery to us, right? So these small little things, even when you look at it from an animal perspective, the dogs on the road, the cats on the road, even the cows. Unfortunately, there are all these things which are
all very valid points there, Vishal, and we're having a slight problem with your audio. Let's try and fix that very quickly. And let me move on to Aditi Mittal while we speak that. Aditi, the Mumbai spirit that Vishal was speaking about is great, should be treasured, should be cherished. But when will this stop? I'm looking at these pictures right now and wondering if mine was a car that was sinking in like this, who's going to give me insurance for it? If I was stuck on that railway station from 10 o'clock in the morning and not have a way out, what would I do? If I were being charged 4,000 bucks, perhaps I would pay in a desperate time, but what about those who can't? And this is when we are paying, when the middle class ends up paying the maximum taxes in the country. So clearly, you are known for your laughs. I'm not sure if you have one for the situation today.
As our CM, Mr. Fadnavis, has said, that we should not try to be like Singapore and Shanghai. Shanghai should try and be like Mumbai, which is, I mean, as you can tell right now, I am underwater, but I'm getting great internet signal from there thanks to my geo connection. And that is aspirational. So Mr. Fadnavis is right in that aspect. I think this is the longest now that we have gone without elections for the BMC. So there is nobody really in charge. And that has led to this situation. But Sonal, let's face it, this is not a brand new situation by any standards. We have this happen, every year on year. But I must congratulate, our current ruling dispensation, because this year we have new spots of flooding. And that is progress. We've got like places in South Bombay are now like dissolving. And that is a way for us to get rid of our British colonial hangover, so that the buildings are dissolved into Mumbai rains and go into the Mithi River, which it's got meat in there. So the Mithi has come to meet us here on ground. So truly, actually, I believe that we are doing better than ever. I think Shanghai and Singapore should aspire to be like us.
Arati, I sense, I get that sarcasm. I'm sure the viewers watching are also understanding your underwater is also, the image behind you is telling a lot of stories. But I want to understand this. The question perhaps is also that this has been an time which is unprecedented. Like I said in the opening as well, a 1 month full of rainfall happened in the span of 3 days. Were you, as a citizen, I'm trying to understand, who's very aware, who's on social media and everything, did you get enough advisories from the government not to step out, ensure that you were doing your due diligence, work from home, ensure you've stacked up on all the ration and things that you need? Did any of that happen at all?
I do not recall anything in particular about this, but I remember reading the news that we are trying to develop an extension of Bombay in Raigad. That is something that, our politicians are very keen on, in being able to make another Bombay, a bigger Bombay. And while not, I mean, that's why they don't have time to pay attention to actual Bombay or to, give out these advisories and stuff like that. But otherwise, when it comes to the good things that, our governments have done, we get to hear it. We get to hear it. In fact, we can't escape it. But these advisories, unfortunately, maybe it's my fault because I'm underwater now. So maybe it didn't come to me directly.
Aditi, I hear you, but I also have a question to all the celebs, all the influential people in Mumbai right now. On the issue of dogs, we see so many people come out and talk about how this should be, it should not be hampered. People are coming out, stepping out, putting out videos, tweets, Instagram posts saying don't do this with the latest verdict that's come out on street dogs. Why aren't we hearing enough outrage from the affluent in Mumbai? Is it because they are still sort of ghettoed in their societies, or what's happening there?
See, because even if you come out to protest, where will you stand to do the protest? The water is up to your neck and your placards will get sort of soggy. And so I don't know if that is the sort of the ideal way to protest. And as for making videos, a lot of people's, God bless, as long as we have a geo connection, a lot of our internet is affected. So I believe that, we don't like politics. We don't like politics. So please, not politics. We cannot get involved in politics, because if we say something, then, it might actually lead to some kind of change. But will it lead to any kind of change? Because there are enough people who will tell you that you're wrong and things like that. So that is why, the issue of dogs, now nobody cares about where the dogs are. In all this flooding, nobody is putting out advisories about
Exactly.
making sure that the dogs can come and stay in their buildings. Sonal, it is all the fault of the rich people and the opposition, because I believe that the rain is a conspiracy by the opposition to make our current government look bad. That's what it is. It is the rain gods conspiring.
Arati Mittal there, making you cry or happy tears, if one can call it that, or making you laugh your saddest smiles, the saddest smiles. That's what this has been about. Thank you so much, Aditi, for joining us with your perspective on this one, and really hoping that this message goes across. But let's also go back and bring in some ground reality. We also have our colleagues, Devesh Singh, who's joining us from Thane, and Mustafa is also with us. Devesh, if I can come to you and try and understand the situation in Thane at the moment. We looked at situations where people have been stuck, and what I'm trying to wrap my head around is the government did give a very clear advisory that stay at home, schools are shut, colleges are shut, even the Bombay High Court operated truncatedly today. So why are there first people out in this very dangerous scenario?
Well, there are multiple people out on the roads, out on the railway platforms, out at the bus depots, out on the roads as well. And they are tending to their work. Actually, there was an advisory issued yesterday by the BMC, by the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, by the Thane Municipal Corporation, by the Thane Collectorate, by the state government as well, that there could be heavy to very heavy rainfall, and only if necessary, then people should step out of their residences. And despite that, people are still out, and this is Mumbai, and people step out of their residences. They have their personal commitments, they have their professional commitments, and there are multiple people out on the roads. You can see this is Thane, this is a busy road on Thane, near the banana office. This was flooded this morning. Just till this afternoon, this area was heavily flooded. Now the water has gone down, but the traffic is still on. Traffic then also was on, and it's still on. But areas like Ghodbandar Road, which connects Thane to Mira Road, another satellite suburb of Mumbai, Thane is on one side, while Mira Road is on one side of Mumbai. And Ghodbandar Road is the link which connects Thane to Mira Road. And it's a heavy traffic road that is heavily flooded in areas like Gayamukh, Chena Creek and nearby areas. There is around 4 feet of water, and that advisory has been issued by the Thane Municipal Corporation. Now, there are trains which are not running from Thane to Mumbai, from Mumbai to Thane. People are stuck. There are long distance trains which have been cancelled. Many of them have been cancelled. Many of them have been rescheduled. But there are multiple people. There are thousands of people who've been stuck in Mumbai, in Thane, and satellite cities of Mumbai who are still there. But the reason being, there's been 400 mm of rainfall, above 400 mm of rainfall within 2 days in Mumbai and nearby areas. So
that's right. That's exactly the point we've been making here as well, that an entire month of rainfall came crashing down in just over 3 days, and that's been too much for the authorities to sort of tackle with. But advisories were given, which is why I'm wondering, why are people still out in these dangerous circumstances? Mustafa is joining us from the Andheri subway as well, where a lot of visuals have come out. Perhaps the most dramatic ones came out from there. Could you take us through what's happening at the moment, and what happened to the advisories? Are people not listening? Did they not reach, or are these desperate times? Why are we still seeing people on the road? All right, we seem to have lost that line with Mustafa. We'll just get back to it. But look at those visuals on your screen. There are people swimming outside a mall in Mumbai. There are cars that are completely inundated. Schools, of course, are shut. Colleges are shut. Even the High Court had to sort of shut down after half day or so. And this is going to continue, set to continue for the next 48 hours is what we are hearing. The Chief Minister is saying that all the preparations have been sort of put into place, but this is too much for Mumbai to handle at this point. Of course, leaving citizens extremely angry, also making citizens question. When you knew this, when there was a prediction of such massive rain, why weren't preparations done beforehand? Why weren't these precautions taken beforehand and preparations done to tackle this massive 3 days of rain, which is only going to continue in the days to come? All right, so that was Mumbai. Let's move on to Delhi, where the story is slightly different, but not so much. There has been a flood alert that has been called out in Delhi. The Yamuna River has breached the danger mark in Delhi. Yesterday, we told you that it went up briefly and came down to 206, and now it has been breached yet again. Alert has been issued for people staying near the floodplains, that is, people staying around the Yamuna. They've been asked to evacuate at this point and ensure that there are tents, etc., set up where, in case evacuation is required, they can move. Water has entered residential areas in the Yamuna Bazaar area, and authorities are making temporary arrangements, like we said, to shift the residents as that happens. Boats have also been deployed. Relief and rescue teams are on alert. But those are the visuals coming in from Yamuna. Dry spell most time of the year, but this time we're seeing a fury. Shivani Sharma joins us now from New Delhi to give us more updates on what's happening. Shivani, at the moment, at what stage is the alert? We hear that preparations are being done. Are we at that stage where evacuation will start to happen around the floodplains?
Sonal, Delhi administration is on a high alert when it comes to the water levels, the danger marks at Yamuna. I'll keep showing you the pictures from Yamuna River, where I'm presently at one of the banks close to the ITO. And the mark had reached 205.79 today morning, but now it has receded. And Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, she had already taken stock of the situation in the Yamuna Bazaar area, where she visited herself. She walked in the water where there are some low-lying floodplains where the people have been residing since decades, Sonal. So what the Chief Minister said, that there is no evacuation mark that has been reached, which is around 206 meters. And the water that had touched the level of 205.79 is now receding. Yet the administration is monitoring the situation very closely. We'll show you the flow of water out here. Sonal, these are the pillars which are the gates at this bridge. The water had extended up to 2 feet than its usual levels. That's what the people out here have been telling us. And there are a number of areas where people have been living in the low-lying areas close to the floodplains of Yamuna River. And these are the colonies that have been submerged in water, though the government has made arrangements for them to stay at safer places where the water is not there. But they say that there's lack of electricity, there is lack of further facilities that needs to be arranged. So the Delhi administration is looking into it, but yet there is a high alert that has been issued. There are boat services for any kind of emergency evacuations if required. But yes, from Hathini Kund barrage, there was more than 1 lakh cusecs of water that was flown into Yamuna here, close to Yamuna Nagar. And in Delhi, the water levels of Yamuna River are high, but the Delhi Chief Minister says that there's no need to worry, that the administration is vigilant and the rescue mark is now receding.
All right, so for now, a bit of a relief. Water is receding, but this is going to be a fluid situation, to say the least, in the days to come as more rain is expected. Thank you so much, Vani, for joining us with the very latest. All right, so that was the top story here on 5 Live. Let's move on to some more news coming in, this time from the space of health and wellness. Now, the next story will make you think a little bit. Ever grabbed a snack that screams super healthy only to find out that the fine print tells you a different story? The government is now finally saying enough is enough. In a major meeting in Delhi, top officials have now urged the food industry to voluntarily crack down on misleading labels or face consequences. This just isn't about labels, no more exaggerated ads either. If a company makes a claim but they don't have solid proof, don't have independent proof to back it up, government says they will be taking action. In fact, Sonal from Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council stressed that even the so-called scientific evidence in ads must be verified by outside authorities. And even the Consumer Affairs Secretary there has pitched in saying that this is a bond of trust that brands hold with customers and they will be held responsible if not more is done. The big takeaway from this meeting that happened was that there have been actually a reasonable amount of meetings that have happened on the issue of labels. Is change really coming? Food manufacturers need to take this seriously given the high stakes in people's health and trust. And what we can really expect is there going to be action, culpable action taken against brands who actually mislead you. All of that is what we've got our eyes on. But let me cut across to my colleague Sneha, who gets us more details on what actually is happening. Sneha, like I said, there have been now a series of meetings that have happened on the issue of food labels. It started with the sugar boards in CBSE schools, now food labels all across. We see meetings of the Consumer Affairs Ministry, even FSSAI, that has recently taken place. But all, really comes down to when will the needle move on the issue of taking action against these brands?
Sonal, this reminds me of the time when tobacco warnings were being implemented, and you'd recall the kind of dilly-dallying that happened. Even at that point in time when the rules were that the pictures have to be so strict and they have to in fact send out a message, it should in fact be reflecting good, and it never did for the longest time. There was so much pressure from the tobacco lobby. Exactly is the situation right now when it comes to the issue of front of the pack labeling in India. Remember, countries like Chile have reported a dip in obesity levels, also a dip in problems like lifestyle disease and metabolic disorders like diabetes, for example, with the implementation of these rules on front of the pack labels. But India is leaning towards, star ratings, which means if the food is good for you, if that particular item is good for you, it'll get 1 star or 5 star, and if it's not, then 1 star. That is something that FSSAI seems to be leaning towards, and hence the concern that we may never really have that front of the pack label, which at a glance tells you, listen, this has excessive sugar, this has excessive, sodium, which is salt, and this is not good for you. So that really is the push from those people, from those working towards in the area of nutrition advocacy, and talking about the fact that this is the need for the hour. In the last 1 decade, obesity levels have doubled in India, and this is a fact that the government just cannot ignore anymore. And hence the recent guidelines from the Health Ministry on talking about the disadvantages, the Prime Minister's constant stress on bringing down the oil level in the food that we eat by at least 10% to cut down obesity levels. But yes, if you ask me about who's at fault, everyone. Very recently, and I was shocked as a mother of a young child, I heard an advertisement that talked about the fact that a pack of oat biscuits can replace, your regular breakfast, your healthy breakfast, which ideally should be protein rich. And this is shocking. These are ads like these that the FSSAI needs to go after, advertisements and people pushing junk food. And how? Look at the ads and look at, cartoon channels essentially carrying these. Our kids are, they have just so much more access to this information.
You see, now and then you see packets which say protein packed, whole wheat, no sugar, no added sugar. But behind those packs, in those funny chemicals, which are all sugar substitute, perhaps even more harmful, have been put in. So we really need a wholesome sort of approach to this, and a way in which there can be very clear, transparent guidelines and labeling, like you said, that should come into place. Thanks so much, Sneha, for bringing us perspective on this story. This is not the last you've heard of it here on the program. Now, ever felt like taking a walk helped you solve a problem? Or noticed how taking your hands or, even talking with your hands sometime, what I'm doing right now, makes your ideas clearer? Well, it turns out that it's not just a quirky behavior. There is science behind it. A new piece by psychologist Barbara Tversky actually highlights how our bodies are actually thinking right alongside our brains. From pacing to posture, what you do physically could be shaping how you think emotionally and intellectually. We take a closer look at this very fascinating world of embodied cognition. Here's a detailed report. Ever had a gut feeling about something? Or found yourself pacing while trying to make a tough decision? Well, surprise, surprise, that pacing is not just anxiety. That's your body helping you think. That's right. According to the psychologist Barbara Tavaskai, the idea that thinking happens only in the brain is just outdated. In a recent piece in the IAI News, she argues that your body is just as involved in your thought process as your mind. Yes, that means that this meat suit that we are all walking in, there are brains, little signals, well, all over your body. Kind of. I'll tell you how. Now, think with your hands, feet, spine, all of it. Tavaskai dives into the growing science of embodied cognition. A fancy term, well, for something you probably do every day without realizing. Using your body to think. Gesturing while you talk. You see what I did there? Well, helps you form clearer thoughts. Walking to clear your head. That's not just a mood booster. It's a legit cognitive tool. Your body isn't just following instructions from your brain, it's actively participating in the whole brainstorming session. Now forget the brain-body divide. For centuries, we've treated the brain as the control tower of the body, as the clunky airplane. Now Tavaskai says, nope, they are both co-pilots. Thinking doesn't float above your body in some sort of cerebral cloud. It's grounded in every muscle, in every sensory experience, even in postures. Okay, try this little experiment with me. Try slouching yet feeling confident. It's hard. It's just not the same. So now you get what I'm trying to say. Therapies are catching up on this science. The mental health word is starting to catch the drift. Practices like somatic therapy, mindfulness, body-based trauma work are gaining grounds. Turns out that treating the mind and ignoring the body is just like fixing your car's software and leaving the engine on fire. So what's required is a bit of introspection. Your awareness of internal bodily signals. Think heartbeat, hunger, tight chest, breathing. All of this is becoming a hot topic. Researchers are finding links between tuning in your body and better emotional regulation. Basically, if you listen to your gut, it might stop yelling at you all the time. Bottom line here is, you are not just a brain taxi. So next time someone accuses you of thinking with your stomach or leading with your heart, thank them. They might be more right than you know. And honestly, after knowing this, you might never even look at your elbows the same way again. Sonal Mehrotra for India Today. Fascinating, isn't it? So next time somebody calls you fidgety, tell them you're not fidgety, you're just thinking and your body is thinking along with you. To talk to us a little bit more about this, I have Dr. Amit Sen join us now. He's the director and senior consultant at Children First. He's actually been doing this with kids for a really long time and has some really interesting anecdotes on what we can learn from it. Dr. Sen, you were telling me earlier that perhaps this is not new. This is something that we have known for a while with kids. But for the first time, not sort of tokoing someone on being very fidgety is quite a thing for adults as well. Where do you draw your daily inspiration from? And if you could share some anecdotes there.
Absolutely. I'm very excited that you took this topic up today because we have, I think, working with children, practicing this for at least 2 decades, understanding that brain development, the development of the mind, cognitions, emotions, are so much to do with physical exercise, sensory stimulation of different kinds. And even if you look at, wisdom from the past, when parents, schools, other stakeholders would insist that children should go out to play, and they should play, they should spend a good couple of hours, in a garden, in the play field. And there is a reason behind it, because now science is catching up with it and saying, yes, there is evidence that all this enhances brain growth and development. Indeed, there is very clear indication that if you do not get that exercise, which is what the reality is in today's digital world, where children don't go out to play, there is an impact on brain development. One can see that. There is cortical thinning, which means the cortex of the brain, which is actually the seat of where we, of thinking, of intelligence, that becomes thinner. Focus and the ability to concentrate and learn, that diminishes. The ability to regulate yourself, your own feelings, etc., is less. And
You're essentially saying that we've got to focus not just on our mind. We've actually got to focus on every part of our body, every organ, because all of that is constituting into the end product. So mind over matter, that debate, should we say that's settled now?
Absolutely.
Not the case anymore?
Again, I think that this understanding that the brain is superior and is separate from the body is a Western concept, and it came from certain philosophers like Descartes, and he clearly said that there is, the brain and the body is different. And in the last maybe 20 to perhaps 30 years, there's been a lot of people in the mental health fraternity who've been challenging that concept, because we've understood that it's not just the brain. There are many other things that go into brain development, and it's something which works synergistically. The mind and the body, the brain and the body, they're growing together, and one supports the other. And if you take away one, then the other suffers as well. So it is not as if the brain is taking the first, is taking the leader's role and dictating the body to do what.
Examples are coming to me, how yoga tells you that breathing the right way can settle in a lot of anxiety. We say stuff like going weak in the knees. We say the gut feeling. This has been wisdom or historic wisdom passed on by our grandmothers for a while. And now, should we say science is finally catching up to it?
Yes, I would completely agree with that. Indeed, yoga and mindfulness exercises and relaxation exercises that we often practice with young people who we treat, they benefit hugely from it. Of course, we combine it with other things as well. I mean, we look at the cognition, the intellectual development too. And however, if we neglect this one, this physical bit, then there is a price to pay for it. And that is what we have seen in today's world. Which is also why in our therapies today, there are a lot of therapies which are very physical. For instance, occupational therapy, which is full of movements, play, swinging, jumping, getting into a ball pool. And when we have kids get into such a space, we help them develop what are called fundamental skills. Again, skills to do with focus, sequential tasking, to think through a task, plan it, and be able to do it. All those things become much better. Equally, when a child goes for a game of football or goes for a swim, they come back looking calmer and are often much more focused and able to learn much better. Nowadays, in many progressive schools, they allow kids to get up and walk around when the teacher is teaching. They also actually allow, in some schools, and we work with those schools, they allow the child to sit on a gym ball, where you can actually sit on a ball and keep rocking and bouncing on the ball while the teacher is teaching and there is a conversation going on. They're given things to fidget with under the table, and they have what are called therabands, which are on the legs of the chair, and the child can actually go tuk, 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 like that with their feet, so that they can focus better. And the whole concept comes from this realization, even in education, that all kinds of physical activity and movement helps you to learn better. The multimodal ways of learning, where you're using all your senses, your hearing, your touch, your smell, all of that, as well as doing something. So nothing teaches you better than doing something. And what is involved in doing? Your motor skills, isn't it? You're using your hands, your fingers, your eyes, your sensory apparatus, all of that. And when
so should I take away Should I take away from this that stop thinking, get moving? Is that the takeaway from this?
Oh yes, oh yes. In fact, there are some kids and even adults who actually learn much better when they are on the move, and which is probably why some of the more progressive offices like Google, for instance, they allow people and they have spaces for people to go and play some table tennis, go and do some music. There is a board game out there. So whoever is comfortable with whatever, there are other spaces which are soft, cushiony sofas or bean bags, So you have to get in and experience it physically to be able to learn and work better. So your mind begins to work better because you're allowing your body to actually work synergistically with your brain and your mind. It's very exciting.
For all those people with cabins watching right now, this is your cue to get a treadmill installed in your office and take all those walking meetings along. If you want your mind to work sharp, I think that's the big one over there. Thank you, Dr. Sen, for joining us and bringing us all those very interesting and fascinating insights.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. So your mind, not the only one doing the thinking. Think about that one more time. And while you're at it, let's talk about why the world is going mad over matcha. It's green, it's everywhere, and it's no longer just tea. Matcha has gone from being a very quiet Japanese ritual to a global obsession and now even a luxury symbol. But is that what the perception of matcha really was? Are the Japanese really happy about it? The next report will tell you all about it.
Matcha madness becoming quite luxury. Well, the world is obsessed with a certain green tree from Japan, and this obsession shows no signs of slowing. As tea farms in Japan run dry, matcha hits social media stardom in its brightest green yet. It has hit dessert menus, mithai shops, ice cream parlors, and of course, coffee shops with more variants than one can count globally. What was meant to be a tea is now being doused in everything from water to seasonal fruits. As it turns out, matcha's demand has skyrocketed globally over the last 1 year. The deep grassy aroma of the tea was once a symbol of quiet wellness, but is now turning towards becoming quiet luxury. So, is matcha following the path to becoming the next champagne, truffle, caviar, or simply specialty coffee? We break it down. While everyday culinary matcha is affordable, high-grade ceremonial matcha can cost up to $3 per gram, making it more expensive than many wines and coffees. True ceremonial-grade matcha is made from shade-grown tea leaves, called tencha, hand-picked and stone-ground in small batches. The production is labor-intensive, and only a limited amount is produced each year, creating scarcity, a hallmark of luxury goods. That's not all. Matcha comes with an implicit cultural symbolism. It was historically part of the Japanese tea ceremony ritual for nobility. While matcha is now being marketed as a superfood, its storytelling has a lot to do with heritage than wellness. As people across the world pay more for its perceived benefits, the sleek storytelling, high-end fashion collaborations and elevated price have left people divided. Love it, hate it, you just cannot ignore the fact that matcha is the breakout luxury and status marker of 2025.
All right, so what's the takeaway from today's 5 Live? You've got to make your matcha and sit at home because there is going to be no respite from rain coming in anytime soon. That's it from us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.